Welcome guys to a new video where I'm gonna explain you something that many people asked me in the past months, which is how to listen to the audios, to Italian audios, following the natural approach. It's a question that always comes up, like, do I listen while I follow the Italian script? Do I listen while I follow the English or the Italian? Do I follow and I stop the audio following then the English and the Italian, and all these kind of doubts. Today I want to clear them up. The first concept that I want to share is that there's no perfect way to do it. There's no perfect way to listen to the audios for the natural approach. Because the comparison I want to do for you is like, there's no perfect way to read a book. There are some people that read a book in bed. There are some people that read a book on the sofa and they highlight the book. There are some people that they take a pen and they write notes on the book. Some people do nothing with the book and they just read it and then they read it again to study it. A book is a book, but each person finds different ways to read a book, depending on what he or she enjoys the most and what he likes to do, okay, and what he has to do with the book. Same things is gonna be with the natural approach and how to listen with the audios. The key thing you have to remember is the principle, which is you improve your Italian if you are exposed to comprehensible, interesting and engaging Italian content. This is the key. Interesting and engaging, and also comprehensible. So let's now see how these two different parts, interesting and comprehensible, can change the way you want to listen to the audios. Let's take an example. I give a lot of value to the interesting side. So for example, when I was learning some Russian, I found a TV series online. I found a series on YouTube. And basically I was like, oh, I like this series, how it's produced, etc. But I only have the automatic subtitles produced in Russian from YouTube. So I had previously done some Russian, so I knew some words, but this series I could understand maybe 30% of it, 40% of it, and the rest I could understand it from the context. But I was giving a lot of importance to the interesting side. So I was watching this series without even following the subtitles, and I saw that my progress wasn't as fast as I wanted, right? But I'm mentioning this because I want to help you understand the importance of finding something that is interesting to you. Ideally, the interesting needs to be combined with the comprehensible, of course. It would have been perfect for me if the YouTube series was with the Russian subtitles and the English translation. That would have been perfect. In that case, what I would have done at the beginning was to follow with the English, because of course Russian is very different, so I could understand the series a bit, etc. And then I will watch the series again, following with the Russian, and then alternating English and Russian, English and Russian, to give, a way for the brain to understand the series, but also to look at the Russian. The key thing I want you to understand here is that you have to develop your own style. You have to remember the key principle, which is you're gonna move fast in learning a language when you are listening to something interesting for you and comprehensible, or at least interesting or enjoyable and comprehensible. The comprehensible part is very important because that's what's gonna actually give your brain the information to really say this is this, and speed up your acquisition process. If you don't understand and comprehend what you are hearing, your progress is gonna basically be 10% of the speed that you could be at if you also understand the message. So ideally, let's put the perfect case scenario, like the students that are inside the Complete Italian Mastery program or using the Italian for Beginners program. Basically, they have the Italian, then they have the English translation, and then they have the Italian audio. For these people, what I suggest to do is you start listening to the Italian audio, following with the Italian, and you see how much you can get from your English language or your past trials in learning Italian. Once you've done that a couple of times, you go and follow with the English, so you understand what is being said in Italian. And then you keep going with this process. You go with the audio and you follow the Italian, and then you go with the audio and you follow the English. You go with the audio and you follow with the Italian, and you go with the audio and you follow the English. During this process also, it will be ideal that you take a pen or something, you print the materials and you write notes to say, okay, this is this, okay, this is an expression. You underline and take notes. You know, this process also of listening, taking notes, writing on the papers, highlighting, watching the English and then watching the Italian. It's not something that I can tell you, you do this all the time, because the key is that it has to be engaging for you. If you see that by following the English you're bored, you can follow more the Italian and then alternate. The key here is that you spend time with the Italian language, okay? Then if you want to listen and follow for 5 times following the English and then for 5 times following with the Italian, or alternate it, or take notes, or write down things and copy it, or stop the audio and check the Italian and the English together. That's something that you can develop as your own style. I'm here to give you the basic understanding of how the process of language acquisition, the Italian acquisition, is gonna be, so that then you can develop your ways, right? Okay? Remember, it's like reading a book. There's no one fixed way to read a book. You can read it lying in bed, or sitting on the sofa, or standing, without taking notes, without highlighting anything, or doing that. That depends really on you, what you enjoy the most, the process that keeps you more engaged, and that's really it. The way I do it, as I told you, is always different, depending on the languages I learned. Sometimes I was following just the language. For example, for French, I was following everything just in French. I didn't have the English translations because it was similar to Italian, many words, and I could get directly to French, and that was it. I just repeatedly listened to the audios, wrote with the help of Google Translate, some things like that, the translation in Italian, and through that process I absorbed French. So really, don't stress out about it too much. Know that you have to listen to the audios in Italian and follow in some way or the other, especially at the beginning, with the Italian or the English, and then keep the listening going without the transcripts in front of you. And with time, your brain will recognize the words you're learning thanks to the time you spent with the scripts, and it's gonna develop your understanding of the Italian language and the speaking of it. I hope this helps a bit. I know that many people want an answer that is like, do this, this, this and this, and that's it. But the truth is a little bit more flexible than that. And it wouldn't be fair for me to tell you, oh, this is the right way. Do this, this and this. No, it's a little bit more complicated than that, okay? More flexible. But if you have a more specific question regarding to this, and you want a specific plan, I'm also gonna develop something to give you different approaches so that you have a step-by-step way to do it. But it's important that you know that that's just a structure that I suggest, and then you can develop your own style. I'll see you in the next video, and thank you for watching.